Hi everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Ian.is Weirdo. So today I'm going to try to go for like classic makeup because I feel like that's a good jumping off point for a lot of the other looks that I want to do. I just started this series yesterday where I'm trying to get better at doing makeup because I used to do it professionally and I still can do makeup on other people pretty well, but doing it on myself is a little bit harder. Getting products to stick to my face is a little bit more complicated because my skin and my features are like, meh, nah. Everything that works on other people seems to not work on you. And also, I feel like I used to be doing a lot more like avant-garde editorial shit, and that's what a lot of people are doing now on like TikTok and Instagram. And I'm really inspired, but I know I'm not that good anymore. So trying to get better at it. I was gonna cross my fingers, and then I started doing this, and I was like, so I'm just gonna do some makeup, and I still have some red eyeliner under my eyes. I am much more well rested than I was yesterday, where I had not slept for like over 24 hours. So we're just gonna have fun and do this makeup. So feel free to hang out with me, chit chat, and we'll just do something, I guess. I'm gonna listen to some music and try to multitask. Hi, Rudy. Welcome in. So I'm going to um, put some primer on first. Ugh, I hate this like pill app sometimes. Like it's good and really helpful, but other times I'm just like, fuck. Just like if I'm doing something. Hey, Jenny, that's cool. I understand that you're working. A lot of people probably are right now. So I'm gonna put primer on. Okay. Well, you're welcome to stay as little or as long as you want. You always are. Everyone always is. So I could do a more full coverage foundation right now if I wanted to, but I don't really know if that's what I desire at this point. Now, I'm gonna use the Fenty foundation. I don't love this foundation actually. Everyone seems to think it's like the sun. When it came out, thank you. Yeah, it's like green and black. It's more vibrant in person, but on camera it just looks pretty dark. Um, yeah, when this foundation came out, everyone was like, "Oh my god!" And I think it's just because everyone wanted to just like eat Rihanna's ass. It's good foundation, but it's not great. Like if I'm like, I don't love it. I like the shade range is great, but it's just average. I think not worth the price if you ask me, but nobody ever asked me these things. So you can see, because people were like, oh my gosh, the coverage. Ooh, that's fun. I will say that green is one of those colors that is quite hard to get out of your hair because of its blue properties. So just something to consider. I like the imagination and creativity of it, but I think you might have an easier time if instead you use like a little green clip in. I'm not telling you how to do your life. My idea would be because I did something similar when I did like blue and then I did pink and white in it for Pride. I like glued white and pink in there because getting the dye like to not transfer would have been like hellish. So you can use like a green clip-in piece, and that might be a little bit easier. But do what you want. Oh, shave it small. Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, that'll be fine. Then you don't have to worry about it because who cares? It'll grow back instantly. You know what you're doing. So as you can see, this is pretty light to medium coverage. When it came out, everyone's like, it's medium and it's buildable. I mean, it might be buildable, but it is not heavy coverage. I hate to burst anyone's bubble there. It's like once you start blending it, it pretty much makes a nice, like, even skin tone. But I mean, I don't even feel like it's that great at building because I've tried to use it for building up coverage, and it just looks really, really kind of cakey and not my favorite. But some people really love it. Everyone's got different skin types and skin concerns, and so if you love it, you love it. I'm not trying to convince you not to. Just saying, I didn't. I kind of was like, I splurged on this, and I was a little disappointed, but that's okay. So now that I have like a little clean base on, I'm gonna put some concealer on. Now, because I'm doing a more classic makeup, I'm not gonna do any like white. That's green. I'm not gonna do any like pure white and stuff like that. But I am going to use my favorite concealers. My favorite line of concealers is the Makeup Revolution Conceal and Define, and there's so many colors, especially in the light range. I think they do have quite a few in the darker range, but I don't know about undertones because I haven't used them because they haven't been out since I've been practicing, since I stopped practicing makeup. So my skin tone is usually the color C4. And get some more of this actually. It's pretty low. If you want coverage in places, you can let that sit a little bit longer and before you blend it out, and it actually helps it last a little bit longer. So I have the colors C1 and C.5. C0 is white, just for reference. And they do have white concealer. C.5 is really light on me, so I don't usually use it unless I'm going, like, I want something really light. Now, I don't do applications that are typically, I don't know. I just kind of do my own application the way I want to. I don't really do what other people do, and that's okay. You know, find out what works for you. I do my method because I find that it works best for my face. And I believe I've talked about that in depth, so I'm not going to bore you to death with details about that. But if you were curious, I could talk a little bit about why I do the particular placement I do. So I'm going to go ahead and blend that lighter color. Okay, so you can choose to use cream contours if you want. Everybody's different. I go back and forth on whether or not I actually like to have it in my regular routine. It's just kind of like one of those things that I feel like you can kind of go with or without, depending on what you're going for. So do what you want in that sense. I'm gonna apply some today just for shits and giggles, you know, for here doing makeup. Why not? This is the e.l.f. This is the only cream contour that I can find that is light enough and cool enough for me. You just gotta be careful not to squeeze out a ton because it happens to me all the time, and then like, fuck, my whole makeup is like ruined. Like, just so inconsistent. Now there's like a ton, and when I blend it out, it's just gonna be like, oh, jeez. I still don't really like that it's not the most sanitary to use straight from the applicator, but I just do makeup on myself now, so it's not as critical. Okay. So now I'm going to take another little beauty sponge, and this one's real tiny. And I like this for my cream contour because it helps me control it a lot better. Because if I use my big one, I'm like, oh god, it just gets muddy and gross real fast. See, that got like so heavy and like muddy real quick just because of how. Ugh. Now, I'll use a lot more cream contour than I think the average person does on the sides of my face because I have a really round face, and so I'm trying to bring the shadows. I'm trying to have like heavy shadow here, so it brings a lot of the light here instead of out here. So that's why I don't highlight all the way out here because that's just gonna make my round face, wide face, more wide, more round. So that's why I'm kind of like draw like a straight line up because that's what I want. I just want those parts to just recess quite a bit. Now, if I was going for like super like dramatic and like crazy, I might go in and recut some of the contour, but because I'm going to do some powders and stuff like that, a lot of it is just not really worth it to do all of that for when at this stage. So I'm not going to go in with another, like, I'm not going to go in my lighter concealer and do that again. It's just not worth it. So yeah. Okay, so now we're at the setting part of the process. So I will always kind of prefer using a powder puff for um, for this. Get really up in your mirror and make sure you don't have any spots that are missing when your makeup is wet. Make sure it's not creased. If it's creased, go in and tap it out. Because once you set it, you're gonna set those creases, and you will regret it. Because you'll be looking crusty and busted like I do most of the time. Now, any spots that you get oily, your makeup doesn't stay very long, tends to crease, stuff like that, do not be afraid to powder it excessively. Because that makes a huge difference. Now, once the drier the skin, the sooner you brush off the makeup. So, because my nose tends to kind of get really like it's hard because it's kind of combo right there. So, I don't keep makeup on my nose itself for very long, but in the creases of my nose, that's where a lot of makeup migrates. So, I keep the powder there for a little bit longer. Here, we don't get very oily. My makeup does tend to crease under my eyes just a little bit over time, but not hugely. My forehead gets oily really fast. My smile lines crease, all of that stuff. Just pay attention to your body. It's different for everybody. That's why I don't like one size fits all makeup. I just don't. It's just never gonna be for me. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go in with, and I'm still trying to figure out the best process for this particular step because I've been shaving off the sides of my eyebrows because it makes drag easier, it makes making my brow shape what I want easier, but it also is hard to keep it on. So I have a bit of a hard time keeping this makeup on. So I'm gonna do the outside of my, just gonna smear it on me real quick. And it doesn't have to be an exact color match. Get it close, but it doesn't have to be perfect. Color selections in these types of makeup are very limited. You can always draw it a little bit smaller than you might actually go, but that's how I would do it. And then I'm gonna go in and re-powder it with the translucent powder. Should probably, again, like I said, should have done this before. Should have done it before I powdered everything, but it's okay. Just a lot of powder because we want the eyeshadow or whatever we're putting on top to stick to it. But not stick to it unevenly because the cream on the end of your eyebrows is a different stickiness than the stickiness of the rest of your brow, which is quite not sticky. But we can brush that off really, really fast. It doesn't need much time to adhere to that because you don't have much creasing in that particular part of your shape, usually. But if you do, then just be aware. Okay, so now I'm going to go in with a brow powder. And I'm actually going to go ahead and just put green all the way through because I think that is what I want. Ta-da! Some of these greens I want. Oh, actually, I like this color. This one's for green. My brows. So what I'll usually do is, this is palette I have. I'll usually use the light green and go all through the brow because I have a dark brow. You can just be kind of like slightly reckless with this because it's not a super big deal. And be a little bit more careful at the ends. depending on where you got powder before, that's going to change how sticky certain parts of your brows are. Can't get it to stick like you want it, then you can always go back in with a little bit of product like a clear eyeshadow primer and get it to stick a little bit better. This brow is like really like, I don't want to be light green. It's really, really not about that light right now. But that's okay because we're going to take another shade of green, a much deeper one, and I'm going to make them even. And then you just use those colors, maybe some browns, to just get them to be approximately the same color. You don't have to do green brows. You don't have to have your brows match the rest of your hair. It's just fun sometimes. It is sometimes a lot of work depending on your own brows, but that's okay. So like I said, I'm going to do something classic. So for me, I'm going to do a makeup. I don't really do this kind of makeup very often. And I hope I have something to do it with. Yeah, it should be good. Okay. So I have all my makeup palettes here. So I'm throwing it way, 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 way back with the palette of my selection. It's not available anymore, so I'm not even bother showing it. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, instead of having an eye primer that kind of is like a concealer, I'm going to take one that's clear. I really like this primer, this NYX HD eye primer. I've used it for years. I've bought it again and again. It works on so many eyes, hooded eyes, mature eyes, really anybody's eyes. I just don't find many people that it doesn't work really well on. Even people who are really prone to creasing, like hooded eyes and stuff like that, I just don't find that it creases that bad. It just does really well. And then you don't, also because it's clear, you don't get like that huge line of demarcation. It also kind of fits my natural style of doing makeup. But just a little rant and rave about why I'm doing what I'm doing. Okay, so I'm gonna take like a medium brown. Really, it's a light brown, but it's medium on me. And I'm not gonna do a cut crease because I think that I just do cut creases all the time anyways. I love cut creases. I've always loved cut creases. The minute that I learned what they were, I wanted to do them. They took me a long time to get really good at them, or to do them at all. And I think that they're a lot harder than people are making them seem now. And they're like, just slap a concealer on it and then you have a cut crease. I'm like, yeah, but then you have like a lot of product on your eye, and like I don't imagine that looks great in like an hour or two because you have so much shit that can like congeal and like crease on your eye. And you often don't see like hours, like 5, 6 in those makeup, whereas like this method didn't do that. Not trying to shit talk anyone, which it does really sound like shit talking, but it was just more so like I just didn't feel like it was like a sustainable way to do makeup. And I still don't. I'm taking a color that's really close to my skin tone and I'm blending the area between my brows and the brown. I'm going really fast with this. I never do makeup this fast, but I just figured I wanted to show that it's classic because it's makeup that someone can do really quickly. So I have it mostly like on the outer 2/3 of the darker colors on the outer 2/3 of my eyes, but I blended it out. I didn't swoop it out. I didn't do a cut crease. Put it all over my lid. It's pretty equal, but I still blended it out. It's darker in my crease, but it's not a cut crease by any means. So then I'm going to take a mixture of that brown and a darker brown on like a small round blending brush. And I'm going to go into the outer corner of my eye, and I'm just going to start gently placing color there with this brush. I'm not going to blend it all over the place with this brush. That is a catastrophe waiting to happen. Because you get this picks up a lot of product. Like this brush type will pick up a lot of product. So you don't want to, if you don't want to disperse a lot of product, don't use this brush like that. Go in back with your fluffy brush, and then you can blend it out. And because you already have a layer of powder on top, it's going to blend so much easier. I'm not just blending in my crease, but I'm kind of doing like a V blend, where I'm blending to my lashes with a dark color, and then I'm blending in my natural crease. If you're moving your crease based on your makeup, you can do that too. I find that this shape, if you change it just a little bit, depending on the eye, really flatters pretty much everyone. But and it's easy to do. Someone's like, I need quick, pretty makeup. This would be where it would go, because it just looks good on everyone. Although I want to do more, and I like spending time, making a face as glamorous as possible. Like, your boy loves the glamour of it all, for sure. I just like, for this, it's like, it just always works. Now let me see what I have in terms of sprays. I thought I had some sprays that I don't really like using on my face. They do help. Okay, so I'm gonna use this like shiny, like metallic, what is the name of this, like a light pewter? I don't know. I'm gonna load up this. It's very slightly fluffy, but it is also kind of tapered. And I'm gonna wet it with a setting spray. And then start placing it where you want it. I'm basically going from the inner corner to the middle of my eye on the lid, just on the lid. We're going to do the same thing on the other eye. You'll have a little bit of remaining wetness on your brush, but you might need to add a little bit more as you go. Just kind of depends on you. Alright, and then there's a slightly darker color. It's a little bit more brown in this palette. And I'm just going to take the residual kind of wetness. This is a Morphe palette, and Morphe metallics, at least in this era of Morphe, they really only work when they're wet. They don't work really well when they're dry, unfortunately. So this darker one, I'm just going to put on the outer third of the lid just to kind of fill in a little bit of gaps, but it's not the star of the show. Even though it should be, because it's a really pretty color, but they're just not formulated to kind of be the pop that they needed to be. What are you gonna do? Okay, you'll notice that I did keep the powder underneath my eyes there for quite a bit. And the reason why is because you have uh, palettes that tend to have a lot of fallout, or you're doing glitter or anything like that, or if you tend to crease under the eyes, just keep it if you can. So now, in case you had any fallout, you can do this sweeping, and then I just kind of like do like this on my arm. So if you had any pigment that had fallen, it'll get knocked off the brush. This works really well with glitter too, but don't like sweep, 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 because then you get glitter on your brush and then you put it on your face. So that's why we do this ritual of beating the brush. Okay, so now I'm going to take that brush that I put the shimmer on, and I'm going to use the lighter shimmer underneath my eyes a little bit. Now, I don't really like shimmer under the eyes in general. I find that it highlights texture. Even if you are a young spring chicken and you are just beautiful and gorgeous and look like Linda Evangelista, it just doesn't really do it a lot for me. Sometimes like strategic shimmer under the eyes I like, but strategic being the keyword, I wouldn't use it like all under my eyes. Like I'm not lining underneath my eyes with shimmer. For me, it's just not what I like. So I'm going to use that medium brown, same brush. Now, I found the key in my own doing makeup, unless someone's eye shape is very, like most people, anything you put under the eyes is going to look like 2 shades darker. So if you put a medium brown under your eyes, it's going to look like a slightly darker shade of brown. So just keep that in mind as you put colors underneath your eyes. If you want something to be super bright, it's got to be super, super bright. Everything looks darker under the eyes. And then only on like just like the very outside, am I just gonna like just the littlest tiniest bit of that dark, dark, dark brown. Really helps if you stab yourself in the eye. But see how even just that little bit of darkness, I don't know if you can see it, that little bit of extra dark under my eyes just really like, it just kind of like turned my eyes to a totally different shape. So keep that in mind. But we're going to do eyeliner and that's going to change dramatically. So eyeshadow is done. You can do a lot less steps than I did, get the same-ish results. Not a big deal. I just like using these colors like that. So I like using gel liner, and that's classic for me. But for some people, a smoky liner is easier. Actually, a smoky liner is easier for everybody. But classic for me would be this. Let's just go with a smoky liner because then it's a little bit more accessible to everyone. So I'm gonna mix a dark brown and a black. We're gonna mix that powder into my eyes, and then I'm just gonna stamp the outer third near my lash line with this color. You can also do a little like scrub-a-dub-dub right near your lashes, and then you can start to kind of wing it gently. And always start way smaller than you think you're gonna need, because without a doubt, one will be a little bit differently shaped or will be a little bit longer, a little bit skinnier, a little bit fatter. And you'll have to adjust. And so if you start small and then you go bigger, it's not a big deal. But if you start big, you can only go bigger or just let it be really uneven. So I just did like the littlest wing for me. This is the littlest wing possible for me. Some people can go smaller. I can't. Not possible. I'm going to take the same mixture of colors and then just kind of get a little bit of that color all on my like lash line on the top. Now I have really small eyes, so I've got to be. I've got to be. It's just another one of my rules is if you have small eyes, anything that you do is going to look way bigger. So like what is going on here with my eyeliner might look like normal size, but I promise you it is nothing on most people. Like I remember when I was in aesthetic school, someone was like, "Oh, I want to do Ian's makeup because he has so much room on his eyelid," and I was like, "I promise you, I don't." And then they did my makeup, and when they did my crease makeup, it was in my eyebrow. I was like, "I told you, like I have really small features." They started playing Whitney as soon as I'm putting eyeliner on. Like, that's not fair. That's cheating. You'll also notice maybe that some of my features are different. Like, my eyes and my eyebrows are lower. Yours are one's higher than the other. All of those things are normal. Some of it, sometimes I'll correct things, especially if someone mentions that they don't like how one looks higher than the other. But like, I can't literally move features. So sometimes you have to make things uneven so that you kind of topple the scales a little bit. Um, but I just kind of ride the wave with what I got. You know, it's okay for me. Like I don't care that much. True. Um, Now the rest of my face looks very blank right now. You can't quite see it on camera. The camera's doing me a little bit of a favor by making it look like I have color in my face. But really, I only have um, everything that I put on before I powdered, and even that's kind of muted down by the powder. So I'm going to um, start adding some color back to my face. So this is just my skin tone color. Bronzer is good because it makes you look a little bit alive. Just you don't need as much as some people you. It can look very orange on you, so just make sure you're finding the right color for you, depending on your skin tone. If you're really light, you have to search quite a bit. I use Park Avenue Princess um, by Tarte, and it's very light. But the thing is, you have to be careful that you don't use. I mean, you. I mean, I think the thing is right now is that a lot of people use bronzer like contour now, so it's not a huge deal to do something like this, even though it's totally changing the tone. You're changing from a cool tone to a warm tone. But just kind of keep in mind that that's not really how what would happen like naturally. This is not how people did makeup back when I was doing makeup. Like it would be pretty unheard of actually. One thing that people don't do now that I always think is a little interesting because everyone's really focused on like a snatch nose, and I'm not. I could not. I can't be bothered. But bronzer is about where would the sun touch your face, and so a lot of people don't bronze their nose unless they're like trying to do the sides. But bronzer typically would kind of hit you right there across. Like, you know, when people put like the band-aids over their nose, like it would hit you right about there. So that's something that like used to be like a thing, and then it would kind of go in this pattern, like kind of like the underneath side um, of sunglasses. And then I always think it looks nice to go around the perimeter because it gives some more shape and dimension. Think of yourself as like a circle, and then you kind of make it like a 3D circle or 3D oval when you put a little bit of color around. And then let's see, I'm gonna take some blush. I'm gonna go with kind of like a cool tone mauve. I have one of the skin tones that I have to be really careful about blush. And I just put a little bit, kind of, and I really have to kind of do it with a line. I know I'm swirling it, but it's really just like a line right here that I go up and down. I don't like, because if I go over there, I'm doing all the work that we did to make our face look skinnier. And then I don't really care for bronzer. I mean, for highlighter, if I'm being honest. But if you wanted a little bit, you could take your color. Oh, it's broken. Oops. Take your color, use just a little bit, and then for my face, I don't put highlighter here at all. And then, if I can help it, and then I also don't just do like a big old streak. I try to actually have it be like a focused spotlight of highlight. So doing something more like that for me feels a lot more natural, and I think it looks better. You can take pictures from different angles and it doesn't look fuck wild, but it's just makeup. Who cares? Like, people know you're wearing makeup. It's not like a surprise. Like, you think I got this smoky eye just for fucking existing? No. I just put a little bit on my nose just 'cause sometimes it gets a little bit too dry looking. So this makes it look like it has moisture somewhere in it. You can put a little under your eyebrows if you really want. Who cares? Okay, and then for lips. Now, I really like liquid lips, but I wouldn't say that they are the most classic lips, obviously, because that super matte, um, borderline chalky, not necessarily, but like that look is definitely not timeless. Lip trends change constantly. So I think healthy, natural lips always are gonna be the look that work. Tones, shades, all that stuff. Those are gonna change with fads, but I'm just gonna take some micellar water and get it off my lips. Get all that, whatchamacallit. Okay, so I'm using the NYX lip liner in the color, I think it's natural, Peekaboo Neutral. And then I'm just gonna line my lips normally. I'm not gonna go overdraw them crazy or anything like that, even though I like overdrawing them so much. Might actually get to losing my mustache. I haven't shaved in a couple days. Now I'm gonna use the lip liner to fill in the rest of my lip. Pretty much. I don't really, so I'll fill in most of the top lip and then just kind of the inner corners of that outside and just kind of blend it out a little bit with my fingers because I just want them to look fairly natural. But having a distinct line around your lips does not look natural. Now, if you have fuller lips than I do, if your lips are naturally like two tones, like just kind of work with what you got and play around because things that look natural and classic on me are not going to be classic for everyone. So see, I'm just kind of dragging it in here, thickening up that line. And then I'm going to use the Selena, Selena Viva Glam color, and it's a satin, so it's not too glossy, not too matte, just perfect, nice, natural finish. Also, it's beautiful, and I love Selena, and if you don't, I can't relate. Now I'm gonna put some mascara on, even though, well, actually I'm not because it always ruins my makeup. Because mascara just runs on me. But if you wanted to do something like this, you could do that. So this is what my keeping it classic or trying like doing classic makeup for me. Like if someone was like, I just want something that's gonna look good. If I look at a picture of myself from like 40 years, like this is makeup that's not gonna look crazy at any time. So this is type of makeup that works pretty much all the time. And it's easy enough to do. I added more steps because I'm extra as fuck. But it really doesn't have to be crazy, crazy, crazy. I think the focus is like what can you do to make your skin look healthy and what you can do to work with kind of like what is a natural look. Even if it's unnatural, like the amount of contour and stuff that I use, not natural at all. I put a fuck ton of contour, but natural looking, and then like just like a smoky eye with like a little bit of shimmer, always gonna work. Clean eyebrows that aren't crazy, always gonna work. And then just something that fits your lips, looks like your lip color, always gonna work. So I'm gonna use a little setting spray, and well, I guess this is just a little mist, but this can help kind of melt the powder down a little bit so it doesn't look as powdery. So I hope you enjoyed this. It was fun hanging out with you all, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.